Hello everybody, I'm Rick Chambers for Professorate.com. Today's segment deals with skiing in the Alps. Where to ski? Now the best of the Alps is shared by four countries. You have France, Switzerland, Italy, and Austria. France, Italy, and Austria all use the euro. Switzerland uses its own currency, which is called the franc. Both of the currencies are currently expensive compared to the dollar. So how should you decide which country to visit? Well, first, France is known for serious skiing and riding. Val d'Isère and the sister resort there, Tignes, along with Chamonix, all boast slopes that can challenge any expert, really. Chamonix, by the way, sits in a valley which is directly beneath the gigantic Mont Blanc, which at 15,000 feet is the highest peak in the Alps. So while Chamonix itself is not a particularly charming town, the setting really is superb. Other areas like Courchevel and Megève, they're more family-oriented, and they offer more confidence-building slopes. Now, France, of course, is famous for its cuisine, but let's kind of assume that you're there on a tight budget, so that's really not a big factor here. A big plus for French skiing, though, is the fact that some of the resorts, especially like Val d'Isère and Chamonix, they offer slopes at a fairly high altitude, so the snow is generally reliable. A negative for French resorts, though, is that they tend to be harder to get to by public transportation, especially when compared to places in Switzerland. Switzerland is the heart and the soul of the Alps, and most first-time riders and skiers going to Europe will want to head directly there. One of the most attractive elements of Swiss travel is the fantastic network of trains and buses and boats and mountain climbing contraptions of all kinds, and they're all linked by a timetable that's probably as complex as the inner workings of a Rolex watch. Once upon a time, before 9/11 and the bankruptcy of the original Swiss Air, it was even possible to check luggage at a remote rail station in a very charming Swiss village, change trains about 3 times maybe each with a connecting time measured in just a few minutes, arrive directly at the international airport in Zurich, and then fly to your destination here in the US without ever picking up or worrying about your suitcases again. Now, Swiss trains are attractive, they're clean, they're frequent, and they're almost always punctual. It should be added, however, that they're also expensive. And special lines that run from the main routes up the mountains to the resorts, they tend to be even more expensive. Fortunately, though, the Swiss railways offer special regional tickets, which can lower the cost dramatically. The Swiss card and what's called the Flexi Pass and others, they all allow the visitor to buy unlimited travel for certain days of the month. There's a number of different options you can get, too. Some work on consecutive days. Others allow you to choose a set number of days within a particular month, which, by the way, is ideal for the beginning and the end of your trip. Some of these have youth prices, others don't. For all the details, you want to go to SwissTravelSystem.com, select the English button, of course, and then just have some fun with it. Now that you're starting to explore the wonders of the Swiss railways, you'll probably also be wondering exactly where within that fantastic network you want to go. Well, here are some great choices in 3 different areas. In the south, you're going to find Zermatt, which is home to the Matterhorn. In the center of the country, you're going to find the Jungfrau region with its trinity of Grindelwald, Wengen, and Muren. Now, further east is the Engadine region, home to St. Moritz, which itself boasts 3 of its separate ski areas too: Pisnaer, Poveglia, Corvatsch, and Diovelezza. Now first, let's look at Zermatt. This is a ski resort as impressive as the mountains that surround it. The vertical rise is over 7,000 feet. Now keep in mind, that's twice what you'll get at Aspen. The town itself, it boasts a car-free, a holiday type of atmosphere. The town is also known for friendly pubs that are also packed with American students who are learning the joys of alcohol at an age where, here in the United States, such things would be strictly forbidden. Now, it can be a very pleasant place to have a nice time. Those are the positives. The negatives include the fact that the town sits in a very narrow valley and is so packed with holiday goers that it kind of tends to feel a bit claustrophobic along its lanes. Also, it may be car-free, but you're going to spend a lot of time dodging little electric 4-wheel things that carry people and goods and luggage, and they look a lot and act a lot like cars. Now next, the river around which the town is constructed, it's been the scene of destructive floods over the years, and because of this, it is encased in cement, which gives the bank a charm which may remind you kind of like Los Angeles. And speaking of that charm, Zermatt has been a tourist town for over a century, and sometimes it feels like, instead of a genuine alpine village, that you're in a Disney facsimile. Well, what about all the skiing and the riding? Well, if you like long, wide runs above the trees, you're in heaven. Heaven, as you may recall, is above the clouds, of course. But here, that isn't always the case. The lift-served terrain is among the highest in the Alps. It reaches upwards of about 12,000 feet. Now up there, the glacier skiing goes on even in the summertime. But when the clouds start to drop down a bit, you can be enveloped in a vaporous mist so thick that you can barely see the ends of your skis. Of course, this can happen just about anywhere, but the upper slopes at Zermatt are so broad and so smooth and vast that you'll feel like you're lost in a whole nother dimension. Even when the sun is out, there's something a little dull and featureless about the terrain on the gentle slopes high up above Testa Grigia. Now still, the views of the Breithorn and Don Blanc, and of course the Matterhorn, they're so stunning that you may have trouble thinking about anything as prosaic as just sports anyway. Now further down towards the town, the runs get steeper, sometimes dramatically so, as they start diving down into the trees. But bear in mind here, those north-facing lower slopes get less reliable coverage and they can get a little icy at times. Now if the Matterhorn side runs aren't what you thought they'd be, Zermatt offers two other separate ski regions. The most famous of these is called the Gornergrat. These runs, with the exception of a summit cable car, they're accessed not by the lifts, but by one of the most famous cog railway lines in the world. The upper station overlooks the incredible Mount Rosa, which is higher even than the Matterhorn. Mount Rosa is a rounded ice cream fantasy of a mountain. I have to say that personally, I find the runs off the Gornergrat practically flawless, really. They start off easy, and then as the Matterhorn side, they kind of drop down into the canyons. Now sometimes you're in the forest, other times you're out in an open bowl. The runs are so long, too, that they kind of feel more like a journey than the 3 or 4 minute roller coaster rides that you're used to at many resorts right here in the United States. What's cool is that along the way there are mountain chalets where you can stop, get a hot mulled wine and something to eat. But you may want to stick to the wine. The food's going to start eating into your budget too. All in all though, it's just magic. Finally, further to the north is the Sunnegat region, serviced by an underground funicular and gondola. Now, I've never actually skied this region, mostly because I come to Zermatt for the views, which are better in the other two regions. However, it seems to offer good, varied terrain for all kinds of skiers and snowboarders. Well, now that you want to come to Zermatt, where can you stay on your budget? Well, not the Zermatterhof, that's for sure, and not the historic Seiler Hotel Mont Cervin. Now, one place that I have stayed when I had to save was the no-nonsense Hotel Bahnhof, which in English means train station hotel. And that's exactly what it is. This is not a romantic country inn, it's a workaday place where you sleep right beside the railroad tracks. But it does have a romantic history of serving serious mountaineers and winter sports folk. And you have a choice of everything from a comfortable private room to a cheap bed in a clean, well-maintained dorm. Plan on spending about $50 a night for a bed there. But if you want something a bit more upscale, check out La Petite Hotel, which offers rooms for about $80 per night per person with breakfast, which in Switzerland usually means yogurt, muesli, fruit, cheese, bread and jam, juice, coffee and tea, things like that. If you're willing to stay in a hostel, you want to check out the website called gomio.com. They list the Matterhorn hostel in town as well as others in this particular region. Other websites to check out, swissbackpackers.com as well. By the way, this is a good time to point out that one of the best parts of travel is the planning part. And one of the best ways to plan these days is, of course, online. So start by finding websites for the places you want to go, then explore all the links that are out there. Europeans of all income levels, they're used to traveling, so you're going to be amazed by how many resources exist online for that. The smart American traveler knows that by hooking up with the websites from the European countries, they can not only save money, but they can also enter into that stream of travelers from Europe itself. The new experiences, all the new relationships that result might actually turn out to be the best part of your trip. And traveling the European way, it will almost certainly save you some money.